من الشيطان الرجيم. ثم أنزل عليكم من بعد الغم أمنة نعاسا يغشى طائفة منكم وطائفة قد أهمتهم أنفسهم يظنون بالله غير الحق ظن الجاهلية يقولون هل لنا من الأمر من شيء قل إن الأمر كله لله يخفون في أنفسهم ما لا يبدون لك يقولون لو كان لنا من الأمر شيء ما قتلنا هاهنا قل لو كنتم في بيوتكم لبرز الذين كتب عليهم القتل إلى مضاجعهم وليبتلي الله ما في صدوركم وليمحص ما في قلوبكم والله عليم بذات الصدور. إن الذين تولوا منكم يوم التقى الجمعان إنما استزلهم الشيطان ببعض ما كسبوا ولقد عفى الله عنهم إن الله غفور حليم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تكونوا كالذين كفروا وقالوا لإخوانهم إذا ضربوا في الأرض أو كانوا غزا لو كانوا عندنا ما ماتوا وما قتلوا ليجعل الله ذلك حسرة في قلوبهم والله يحيي ويميت والله بما تعملون بصير. ولئن قتلتم في سبيل الله أو متم لمغفرة من الله ورحمة خير مما يجمعون. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه وتمتعه فيها طويلا.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا حبيبنا حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، فقد قال الله في كتابه المبين: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Can we begin with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, our discourse on the theory of knowledge continues, inshallah. However, before we continue and before we resume, I feel that it's very important, inshallah, to revisit an aspect and a component of religion that we're definitely very familiar with. However, the details of which quite possibly we don't necessarily understand. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك دين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. This ayah is telling us what? Now let's focus. فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها. The fitrah of the human being, the fitrah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon them. So now we know one thing extremely clearly, that the fitrah that we have, the innate essence that we have, we can say the nature that we have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed that nature upon us. However, the question arises, what is that nature? What is it exactly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon us? What is it exactly that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about when He says فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا? The response has been given to us by Ali ibn Abi Talib صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. Imam Ali responded, the question was asked, the fitrah that has been given to the human, the fitrah that has been given to man, what fitrah is this? What essence is this? Ali ibn Abi Talib has told us that this is the fitrah of Tawheed. Now, we understand that the fitrah that has been given to us is the fitrah of Tawheed, correct? What does this mean and what does this entail and how does this liaise with our concept and construct over the past few days where we've been trying to devise a theory of knowledge? First and foremost, if I say my inner essence, if I say my fitrah is one of Tawheed, what does that mean? Then it's a fitrah that can't be changed, correct? So one of the greatest, we can say, miracles of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the rigid nature of the laws of nature themselves. When we look at the laws of nature, we see that they do not change, they do not turn, they do not increase or they do not decrease. The rigid laws of nature are, we can say, the very clear signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is why in the same ayah when He states لا تبديل لخلق الله, this is exactly what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about. There is no changes in His nature. There is no change in the nature of man. Most verily we have been sent upon earth to put to you the truth. Most verily we have been sent upon the earth to go and get the haqiqah, and there is no change in that whatsoever, and that is our innate desire. So, what does it mean to have a fitrah of Tawheed, brothers and sisters, right? It's easy to say I have a fitrah of Tawheed. It's easy to say my innate nature is one of Tawheed, as the first Imam is saying. But what does that actually entail? What are the details pertaining one who has a fitrah that is Tawheed? The first one, if one has a fitrah bestowed upon them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by nature what's that fitrah going to be? Perfect or imperfect? Perfect. Therefore, man by nature seeks perfection. Man by nature seeks kamal. If the essence has been given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the fitrah has been given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then our innate desire and nature is to go out and seek this perfection. Our innate desire is to go out and seek what's perfect, what's complete. And by nature, if we want to go out and seek what's perfect and seek what's complete, then we are, for example, taken away from all that which is incomplete and imperfect. So, what do I mean? Masalan, let's take the aspect of beauty. Beauty, yes? An aspect of the human is that we like to pursue beauty. When we see something beautiful, we admire it. We want that in our life. Correct? However, I ask you, when we see something more beautiful than the former beauty, what do we want to do? Stick with the first one or go to the latter? Go to the latter. If we see something even more beautiful than the second one, what do? Keep on going higher. Why? Because man by nature is seeking perfection. Man by nature is seeking the complete model. Man by nature is seeking the complete truth. So we keep on climbing, we keep on going. We keep on going up and we're trying to see what the utmost thing of beauty is. It's the same in each aspect. Masalan, power. When man seeks power, what do they want to do? When man seeks power and they seek perfection in power, do they just stop at one thing? No. If they want power and they are as humans trying to seek perfection and kamal in that power, they're trying to go for more and more. If someone conquers one country, they want two. If someone conquers two countries, they want five. If someone conquers 5 countries, they want the whole continent. If someone wants the whole continent, then they want what other planets are there. Yes? As we are striving for perfection, we're striving for completion. As we're striving for completion, if we trivialize it down to things such as beauty and things such as power, our thirst will never be quenched because we're going after something where we are negating the root, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we look at the pursuit of power, as humans, we pursue perfection. So if someone tries to pursue the perfection of power, we can have the example of Alexander, right? Commonly known as Alexander the Great. What's the famous poem about Alexander the Great? After he won his final battle and he beat everyone in the war that he was winning. The poets wrote down, Alexander wept for there were no longer any new worlds to win. Think about this, huh? Alexander wept because there were no longer any new worlds to win. So the ambition, of course, on one hand, is something maybe to admire. However, you can understand why Alexander would weep, because what he is attaining is not perfection itself. He's trying to take a substrata of that perfection and move into it. And isn't that what we do? We take something, masalan, we look at something, we say this is beautiful. I like these clothes, I like this car, I like this house. We are taking a manifestation of beauty in our lives. When we want a higher form of beauty, we get a bigger house, or we get a faster car. We think that we're manifesting the attribute of beauty. However, we're negating the essence of beauty itself. When we link all of these things to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's at that point in time, it now no longer becomes cyclical. It's no longer running in a loop. It's something where you're going deeper and deeper. You're in the sirat al-mustaqim. You're hunting the infinite at a point in time where it now becomes rewarding for you. It now becomes something that is going to give you a return rather than something that gets you worse and worse. If, for example, the pursuit of wealth was something that in itself and in its essence was rewarding, I ask you, why do we have the issues we have today? Some of the wealthiest people in our economy, they have the worst mental health issues. If it was wealth for the sake of wealth, masalan, if it was just beauty for the sake of beauty, if it was just power for the sake of power, then these problems shouldn't have arisen. But we took them away from their source. We took them away from the essence. We took them away from what the actual source of these things are. And that's why we get stuck in a circle. That's why we get stuck in a loop. So everything that we are trying to manifest, we need to understand the root and link is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am getting this house, so it's a wasila for me to get closer to God. I am getting this car, so it's a wasila for me to get closer to God. If I can't justify that me getting this house is going to be a wasila for me to get closer to God, then I now no longer purchase this house because it's taking me further away from my goal rather than closer to it. So man's innate desire of perfection is as such. We are lovers of what? Absolute perfection. Absolute perfection. And that's what we're always chasing, right? Why do you think we always want better and faster and higher? It's the chase of absolute perfection. So we can chase it in these things. And I'm saying what they're doing is not incorrect. When someone, for example, is trying to go up the ladder, someone, for example, is trying to be more wealthy, someone, for example, is trying to be more powerful, bil fitrah, this thing has no issue, and what they're doing complies with their own fitrah. Fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nas alayha. Their own fitrah is telling them to attain perfection. Their own fitrah is telling them to attain excellence. So they're attaining excellence. However, the only issue is they have detached it from the source of that perfection and excellence itself. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's perfection is different to that perfection. How? I just told you there's a perfection in power. Yes? I just told you there's a perfection in beauty. How is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's perfection different? And why is the pursuit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's perfection going to be rewarding for me when the pursuit of all of these other perfections are going to be damaging for me? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is all encompassing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah is all encompassing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's perfection is all encompassing. All of the things that we think we are attaining perfection in, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He vetoes all of them. He is the most powerful. We think by getting more power, by, for example, conquering more countries, we will attain that perfection. No, He is the all-powerful. We think, for example, by studying certain university degrees, we will become more knowledgeable. No, He is the most knowledgeable. So as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the source of ultimate perfection, us as humans, we crave that ultimate perfection because that is the fitrah within inside us. That's the seed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put within inside each human being. So this is why it's innate in human beings to pursue Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why it's innate in human beings to pursue Tawheed. Why? It's the pursuit of completion. And it's the pursuit of perfection. And it's the pursuit of absolute existence in itself that takes us to that path rather than the pursuit of an incomplete nature. So that being understood, as I mentioned, we can't find these perfections in finite things like a career, like education, like a degree. These things are finite and they can take you to that truth, but only if it's done fi sabilillah. Only if it's done in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by nature we seek perfection, yes? And Surah Ikhlas, the one that we read every day in Salah, it tells us the very same thing. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Yes? So we have the huwa. The huwa is referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After the huwa, there states 6 attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these 6 attributes, we can say absolutely pinpoint to us that pure perfection is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is nothing associated to Him. There is nothing that comes from Him, that is separate from Him. He is the one. If we go all the way down, all of the attributes of perfection are within Surah Tawheed. So when we're reading it in Salah, take this into consideration. When we're reading Salah, understand this, that the 6 attributes after huwa are what are telling us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is in the entirety of perfection itself. So after huwa, what's the word that comes? Allah. And this is intentional. There's many names for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, correct? Why Allah? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here? As we know, brothers and sisters, you know much better than I. Allah is what? An Ism al-A'zam. And Ism al-A'zam is what? A combination of all of the other Asma al-Husna. So again, this point Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, complete and total perfection is within the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Complete and total perfection is within the name of Allah. Then only when we brought the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we understand that completion and perfection is within Him, and our pursuit on the theory of knowledge and our pursuit in the theory of the truth is most definitely in Qul Hu Allah. And then when we state the Ahad, we know that the all-encompassing perfection is Ahad, not one. Ahad, all-encompassing, all within inside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as I mentioned, shows all the perfections. Yes, there are many different perfections. If we look at His Asma al-Husna, there are 99. But if we look at Joshan Kabir, there are many more. All of these are fragments of perfection. But as we know, perfection has no fragments. Perfection is a total, complete model. And that total complete model is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we want to attain any degree of satisfaction in our lives, we need to attain the complete perfection so that we feed the hunger of our fitrah, so that we quench the thirst our fitrah is asking for. This is the falsafa between inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un as well. Yes, fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nas alayhi. This is an incredibly important ayah of the Quran. It states that inna lillahi, yes, most definitely we started from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our fitrah is from there. Wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and most definitely we will go back to Him. So perfection itself and our pursuit of the truth itself is the pursuit of where we came from and where we're going, because inna lillahi, we came from perfection, and inna ilayhi raji'un, we most definitely are going back to it. So it's now our responsibility at this point in time to take ourselves further in the pursuit of the infinite so we can further understand the discussion and get closer towards Tawheed. I'm running out of time, inshallah, and we haven't even started our discussion. So over the next few minutes, we will be now concluding our theory of the truth. What has our discussion been over the past few days, brothers and sisters? A theory of the truth, right? We've been trying to devise a theory of the truth so that we can interpret the signs of the universe correctly. We've been trying to interpret the theory of the universe so that when we see something, we see it objectively. Yesterday, what did we cover? That the Quran is telling us to be objective. When we are interpreting knowledge, when we are consuming knowledge, it's our responsibility, the Quran is telling us, to be objective. And I said that what? The mind is very similar to a mirror. That if a mirror is rose tinted, what will the reflection be? Rose tinted. If the mirror is dirty, what's the reflection going to be? Dirty. If your mind is prejudiced, your reality is going to be prejudiced. If your mind is biased, your reality is going to be biased. So this is where we need to understand, brothers and sisters, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, don't come with preconceived notions. Don't come with religious thoughts that you had beforehand. Don't come with cultural implications that you may think are true. Come objective. Because if the truth lies in the religion of Islam, most verily you are going to find it there. So you need to come, and our sixth lesson in the pursuit of the truth is this, that we need to come with an air of objectivity. We need to come with an air of clarity. When we look at the truth, we perceive it as that. We don't come in with any biases whatsoever. So, that being said, the human, and today's lesson is going to conclude the stages of knowledge. The human is what? Divided into two main stages, the physical and the spiritual. Which science, I ask you, brothers and sisters, deals with the physical realm of the human? Biology, medicine, correct? Which subject, brothers and sisters, I ask you, deals with the spiritual and the mental? Psychology, right? Now let's delve into psychology itself. Psychology itself has how many branches? 2. The study of the mind has how many branches? 2. The study of the conscious mind and the study of the unconscious mind. So our discussion today, which will conclude our stages of the truth, will be on the unconscious mind. So the unconscious mind, what difference does it have with the conscious mind, I ask you? The unconscious mind controls the conscious mind. We, for example, see machinery. If we go to a warehouse, we see machinery, yes? And we say that most verily, this is what's calling the shots here. This is what's bringing everything to fruition. But if you understand, in the basement, there's an engine that's bringing all of this machinery into play. The engine is the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind we can't see. But everything that occurs in the conscious mind, everything that we do consciously, everything that we do by will is fueled by our unconscious mind. So bear that in mind. It's an incredibly important point. Everything that we do and everything that we say we have free will in is governed by the actions of our unconscious mind and is uncovered by what our unconscious mind has. So when, for example, we read the Quran, and the Quran in Surah Taha, it tells us Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indeed knows what's hidden. Yes? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the secret. That's the first ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the secret. And then the ayah completes as such. And He also knows what is more hidden. What can be more hidden than the secret? In Surah Taha, it's stating, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is secret. He's talking about man. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is secret. And He also knows what is more hidden. What possibly can be more hidden than a secret? If we bring it up to our theory of knowledge now, the unconscious mind is what we're talking about. The unconscious mind that governs our actions and behaviors. This is what we are talking about. The same question was posed to Imam Ali. Salawatu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. That what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about here in the Quran? That He knows what is secret and He knows what is even more hidden than what is secret. Someone asked Imam, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about here? Imam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this context, He's talking about what is inside you, what you do. But now it's so deeply embedded inside you, you forget that you know it. The unconscious mind. Ali ibn Abi Talib is telling us that there's an aspect of the human mind. There's an aspect of human spirituality that governs our behaviors, that governs our actions, that is even more hidden than the secret, which is our base of discussion today. So, I didn't answer the question, did I? What is the unconscious mind? What is this thing in Surah Taha is saying is more hidden than a secret? What is it that Ali ibn Abi Talib is saying that what is more hidden than a secret is something that is within inside you and you've forgotten that it even exists? What is it exactly? We have two theories. Freud, as we all know, he had a very particular point of view here. Freud stated this is what the unconscious mind is. We said the mind is divided into two, right? The conscious mind, the machinery, the unconscious mind, the engine that powers the machinery. He stated this is what the unconscious mind is. When you have a desire, any desire, and that desire can't manifest in your physical form because, for example, laws or social norms, that desire is now suppressed. When that desire is now suppressed, where does it go? In the unconscious mind. That's where it stays. We forget about it. We forget about the desire that we wanted to do. It now sits in the unconscious mind and it now comes in a different disguise and manifests itself in many different forms. That's Freud's theory on what the unconscious mind is. But the more, I would say, Tawheedi understanding of what the unconscious mind is comes from Carl Jung. Carl Jung said, sure, there are some aspects of the unconscious mind that are as a result of the actions you wanted to do, and you couldn't do them, so they've been suppressed, they've been pulled down to your unconscious mind, and now they come out in your behavior in different forms. He said, sure, that's one aspect of it. But Jung said one aspect of the unconscious mind are some innate desires that are driven in man. What did we start this session with? Fitrah. Carl Jung is saying the unconscious mind, yes, is governed by actions that were suppressed and are brought back down to the unconscious mind. But in addition to that, where he differed with Freud was in this. Where he differed with Freud was where he was stating that in the unconscious mind, there are aspects of the human being that are innate. And these innate characteristics and these innate attributes then manifest themselves out in your actions and intentions. So when we say man is by nature Tawheedi, when we say man is by nature worshipping of God, this is what we're talking about. It's something that's scientifically proven innate in the unconscious mind and something that is scientifically proven to be within the psyche. And if we understand that within our fitrah, within the unconscious mind, there are aspects of us that drive us towards the truth, this now no longer becomes an Islamic argument, right? It's something beyond Islam. It's something beyond religion. It's something that's purely tawheed, something that can be covered with all people over all time. Now that being said, we can say that the unconscious mind itself is proof of the soul's existence. No? A materialist would come up to me and they would say the soul doesn't exist. I would say, what's the unconscious mind? The unconscious mind can't be measured in a lab. Show me. Show me how the unconscious mind can be measured in a lab. It can't. How did Freud himself measure the unconscious mind? Through dreams. Through dreams, he measured there has to be an unconscious mind where you have thoughts and those thoughts manifest themselves in the form of dreams. So that tells us what? The existence of a soul is necessary. The existence of a soul is scientifically proven, and the existence of a soul is what takes us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, our topic of discussion, and I'm going to conclude in the next 2-3 minutes inshallah, is this. How did we find out about the unconscious mind? We discussed 3 stages of knowledge yesterday, right? We discussed the different types of knowledge yesterday. What were they? Sensory, seeing, looking. The logical knowledge, processing. And after that, we had the symbolic knowledge, the one we were talking about yesterday. So when we speak about the unconscious mind, we can't measure the unconscious mind by sensory knowledge. You can't see it or taste it. You can't even rationalize it. But what can we detect it by? We can detect it by its signs. What does the Quran use in regards to the signs? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ. So in detection of the unconscious mind, for example, individuals like Freud and other scientists along those lines, they saw signs, they couldn't detect it directly, so they obtained signs in order to understand what the unconscious is, what the metaphysical is. And I will, inshallah, make this point clear with another example. How was Neptune discovered? The planet Neptune, how was it discovered? Was it discovered by a telescope? No. There was an astronomer, he came along, and he was looking at how all the other planets rotated. He was looking at how all the other planets rotated, and he stated, wait, the way that these planets are rotating, there has to be another planet exactly at this point, exactly in this orbit, exactly next to this exact planet. A few years later, the telescope came along, and they verified that Neptune does exist. How did he detect the existence of Neptune? From its signs, from its ayat, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ. So when we state we can understand knowledge by seeing, yes, sensory knowledge is there. When we say we can understand knowledge by logical reason, yes, intellect is there. But when we say most of our knowledge is through symbols and signs, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about in the Quran. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And from His signs are the creation of the heavens and the earth. So it's through these signs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into understanding. It's through these signs that we can come to understand the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself. When we look at the Quran, we have a final example, I have run out of time, of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Hazrat Ibrahim, isn't this not the conclusion that he came to? He stated very clearly that he was in a cave and he said, I am moving. I am subject of motion, correct? If I am subject of motion, there must be a source of this motion. Then he went out and saw a star. When he saw the star, he said, this must be the subject of motion. But when the star started to set, he said, this too moves. There must be something that does not move. He went up to the moon. He saw that it moves. He went up to the sun. He saw that it moves. And then he concluded that most verily the only thing that causes all of these things to move is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ayat, all of these things are simply a manifestation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, he psychoanalyzed the universe. A psychologist would psychoanalyze your life, yes? He would take signs, he would take behaviors, and you say, this is why you have this. Ibrahim alayhi salam did this with the universe, yes? He got the different signs, he brought it together and he stated, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must exist because these are all ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are all symbols of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So to conclude, I am going to state that in order for us, inshallah, over the next 3 sessions to devise the complete theory of knowledge, we need to understand this. It's the symbolic knowledge that we use to identify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's His signs that we're able to interpret to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And bear that in mind with the fitrah. We are able to identify the signs because we ourselves, we know. Fitrat Allah allati fatara an-nasa alayha. The fitrat of man has been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can identify the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bring this symbolic knowledge in, and states very clearly, from these signs Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. And not only there is the crux of perfection, and not only is the crux of perfection, is the duty of my life, and it's the necessary components of being a human being for me to go and strive for it. Wa akhir da'wana walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ahli at-tahirin.
Allahumma Rabba shahr Ramadan الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام يومي هذا وفي كل آن واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفر غيرك يا رحمن يا الله.
قیمت آدم ها را می شود حد زد از قیمت معشوقه هایشان، از قیمت دل دادن هایشان، از قیمت دغدغه ها و جنس دویدنهایشان. آدمها را میتوان وزن کرد، از وزن آرزوهایشان، از وزن ترس از دست دادنهایشان. هرچه قیمت محبوب، هرچه جنس دغدغه، هرچه وزن آرزو سنگین تر است، آدمی بیشتر میارزد، وزین تر است، قیمتی تر است. نه آنکه قیمتی ترین معشوق باشد، نه، تنها معشوق است برای انسانی که در ماجرای این آمدن و رفتن همگیر خویشتن خویش را گم نکرده باشد. لا اله الا هو الحی القیوم. و الله است همان الهی که علت حیات و قوام عالم است.
من هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الرحمن الرحيم الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر الخالق البارئ المصور الغفار القهار الوهاب الرزاق الفتاح العليم القابض الباسط الخافض الرافع المعز المذل السميع البصير الحكم العدل اللطيف الخبير الحليم العظيم الغفور الشكور العلي الكبير الحفيظ المقيت الحسيب الجليل الكريم الرقيب المجيب الواسع الحكيم الودود المجيد الباعث الشهيد الحق الوكيل القوي المتين الولي الحميد المحصي المبدئ المعيد المحيي المميت الحي القيوم الواجد الماجد الواحد الصمد القادر المقتدر المقدم المؤخر الأول الآخر الظاهر الباطن الوالي المتعالي البر التواب المنتقم العفو الرؤوف مالك الملك ذو الجلال والإكرام المقسط الجامع الغني المغني المانع الضار النافع النور الهادي البديع الباقي الوارث الرشيد الصبور الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير اللهم صل أفضل صلاة على أسعد مخلوقاتك سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم عدد معلوماتك ومداد كلماتك كلما ذكرك الذاكرون وغفل عن ذكره الغافلون.
ربنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين ونجنا برحمتك من القوم الكافرين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليًّا ولي الله. أشهد أن مولانا أمير المؤمنين عليًّا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطاهرين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا علي يا عظيم يا غفور يا رحيم. أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء. وهو السميع البصير وهذا شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه علي وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان وجعلت فيه ليلة القدر وجعلته خيرا من 1000 شهر فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك من علي بفكاك رغبتي من النار في من تمن علي وأدخل الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.